313 Diesel guy here. So I've been talking to a guy on YouTube through comments about a video he made. And I was questioning his EGTs and his RPM. And once he broke it down for me, it was very easy to understand why his EGTs were where they were and why his RPM was so high and the speedometer was so low. So, but in the process, I explained to him that my truck, when towing, squeaky window, for the most part, especially when I'm driving around towing my trailer in Michigan, very rarely sees above 750. And that's on a hot day. Now, going down south, I'll see 850, sometimes 9, depending on how long the grade is. And that's cruising at 70 mile an hour, 60, 65, anywhere in between there, depending on how big the hill is, how sharp the curves are and things like that. But it made me remember 2 mods that I have done to my truck that I quite often forget I even did. Actually, it's 3 mods, but one of them really doesn't make a difference other than more turbo noise. So I told the guy I'd make a video explaining what 2 mods it is that I did that made a very large difference in EGTs. And I mean literally a almost 200-degree drop in EGTs at wide open throttle, at towing. Before I did these 2 mods, if I was getting on the freeway, not towing, and I buried the throttle and stayed in it, I'd see high 12s, low 1300, which is still safe. Just don't hold it for, prolonged periods of time, 1300 on up. So, but after these 2 mods, the highest I see, wide open throttle, 80, 90-degree day, getting on the freeway, the highest I will see is about 1150. And as soon as it hits 1150, and that's at 90 mile an hour and still staying on it, as soon as I hit 1150 at about 90, the EGTs immediately start dropping right back down. And when I mean right back down, I mean by the time I let off, if I'm doing 100, my EGTs are already back at 8 or 800. And that's wide open throttle, getting it. So I'm going to open my hood and I'll explain my 2 mods. And they've been around for quite some time. As far as I know, they've been around since the 7.3. Well, since the Super Duty, I should say. So without further ado, now I've talked about the 1 mod before. And I have a modified version of it. Now, the mod I'm talking about is the Zoodad mod. Believe it or not, it is very efficient. But mine is a modified version of it to not just put cool air into the filter, but actually cool the whole engine bay. Here's what I mean by that. So, the Zoodad mod involves the air hole, the air intake hole in the front of the or on the front of the truck. Now, if you ever take your grill off and actually find out where that air intake hole is, it's only about that big. I opened it up. See if we can see it here. Go straight in, right to the right side of the radiator if you're looking at it. I hope you can see it. You should be able to see it. And I ran it straight through, and I used the original inlet tube for the airbox, which is right here. And I pushed it through to the back side of the grill. And to connect that, I put a piece of stainless steel pipe. Now, in theory, that battery should have been relocated, and I should be enclosing the air filter. Which, by the way, if you look, my air filter is a little small right now because of what time of year it is. It allows me to keep a little bit warmer air temperatures in the truck by running a smaller air filter. Now, during the summer, no, I run a much larger one. So, now, instead of air coming through a hole that is 1 inch in diameter, I'm coming through one that is 4 inch by 2 inch, and it's going straight back. Now, with it located right here, and me using the original battery box, it's kind of a track system, and how hard this thing sucks. It's plenty enough to suck air in through the air filter. Trust me, it sucks it just fine. But with leaving it open, it also allows the air to come up and circulate through the engine bay, cooling everything else, causing it to go over the top of the motor and down through the back. Now, one mod I will be doing during the summer is I will be raising the backside of my hood. That way air will flow straight through, which will also help on dissipating heat out of here. So that one mod right there, you know, the Zoodad mod, dropped my EGTs. Let's see if I can actually get this in there so you can, yeah, see, you can see straight through. And I do not have problems with sucking in water either, which is the other reason why I did not close it off and I did not relocate the battery. Because one of the issues they were having on the original design for this is people were doing it with the battery swapped to where the air filter is located and the air filter being up front. You can suck water in that way. I'm kind of behind the battery, so I really don't ever have to worry about it. On days that it is pouring rain, I've driven the truck for hundreds of miles, got out, checked the filter, filter's bone dry, pulled the filter off, inside of the tube is bone dry, so I don't have an issue there. Now the other mod. Everybody who has a 7.3 knows that on the passenger side of the truck, there's supposed to be a piece of rubber that goes right here. Alright? So actually I have mine folded down. But there's a piece of rubber that blocks this off right here. There it is right there. I have it folded off. Or folded down, allowing more air through. And during the summer, the other thing I do is I remove this plastic piece right here, allowing for the air to go through the radiator, over the radiator, and around it. Now the air that's coming through the radiator is obviously going to come through the radiator and come out the other side warmer than ambient temperature. Why? Because it's going through a hot radiator. But all the air that's going around it will be quite a bit cooler. Closer to ambient temp. Why? Because it's got nothing to pass through. So the Zoodad mod dropped my EGTs depending on, you know, what filter I'm running, anywhere from 100 to 150 degrees. I am not joking. You know what, during the spring or summer or spring, I'll do another video on it. I will block off the Zoodad mod along with I'll just block off the Zoodad mod and I'll take a video of, you know what, I'll block off the Zoodad mod and then I'll also put all the rubber foiling back up. And I will do a video of my EGTs and then I will go through step by step, you know, putting it all back together. And then I'll do another run, towing and empty, of my EGTs then. Total difference in EGTs, I am not kidding you, are 200 plus degrees. It honestly were the two best mods I could do, and they didn't cost a dime. Common sense, it's kind of like a person. If a person can't breathe, they can't inhale, they're not getting good enough oxygen to stay going and everything else. And if they can't exhale, once again, you know, you're starving yourself now. Just like a truck or a car. If it can't inhale, if it can't breathe, it ain't going to run for shit. You're going to have higher air temperatures and everything else. So I literally, when I first got the truck, I put a 4-inch exhaust on it and a tune. So at that point in time, it was able to exhale. Not long after, I did the filter and the Zoodad mod, allowing it to inhale. So now, not only can my truck inhale better, but it can exhale. And the air that it's getting is much cooler too, because I'm getting more of it. More fresh air that's not going through a radiator, That's not, it's not going through anything other than a design designated tube to go into the engine bay and cool everything. But that's how I keep my EGTs down. Now, before I did that, like I said, EGTs were considerably higher. I'm shaking right now because it's a little cold out here. Like today. Today is 28 degrees here. And again, I'm running the small air filter, and I've got quite a bit of it blocked back off. Like the rubber mat that goes over the radiator and whatnot. I have all that back up. But even with that, I have the Zoodad mod wide open. And the hottest EGTs I would see through today, even if I was towing, would be maybe 1,000. If I was towing 10,000 pounds, freeway speeds, getting up to speed. In all honesty, that would be where I'd see the hottest, and that's getting up to speed, and I might see 1,000. And that's with the small air filter, which is why I put the small air filter on for winter, because I don't want to be freezing the air, But anyway, that's the two major. There was one other one, and that was the foil delete. It helped very, very little. And when I say very little, it was not anything that I could notice on. It was nothing that I could notice on the EGT gauge. Now, if I take a infrared, or not infrared, but a laser thermometer to it, it's maybe a half a degree difference. So it's not really anything big or anything like that. I did that more or less for the noise. I like to hear my turbo. So, and again, my turbo, I'm running stock sticks. I'm running the stock turbo with a Wicked Wheel 2. And again, 4-inch exhaust. The Zoodad mod, an open element air filter with a tube for it instead of that rubber one. But again, going back to it, the two biggest differences I seen for EGTs was that Zoodad mod and that rubber delete. You don't believe me? Wait till spring. I'll make my own video. Better yet, if you don't believe me, it only takes 2 minutes to take all that rubber crap off the inside of your truck. If you got an EGT gauge, take the rubber stuff off the inside of your truck and go take it for a quick rip. And watch those EGTs not go anywhere near as high as they normally would. And then again, you got a few minutes, take a 2-inch hole saw, drill one hole, take a Sharpie, make it match the design of the stock inlet tube. The angled one that slants up on the angle on the bottom. Beware of the airbag sensor, though. Mine is very close to the airbag sensor. You might be able to see that when I show it through the grill. But again, open it up to the size of the stock tube, the stock air tube that originally goes to the core support. Except now you're going to push it through the core support and into the grill. So, you don't believe me? Test it yourself. If you don't want to wait till spring, that's fine. Test it yourself. I promise you. Differences are night and day. And I mean night and day. To me, those two mods were well worth it. And the Zoodad mod increased fuel economy by almost, according to my fuel economy, and what I see at the pump, almost 2 miles a gallon. But again, that's what happens when you can breathe. Just like a person. When you can breathe, life is good. Everything is smooth. When you can't breathe and you're restricted, you start getting hot, you start getting sweaty, you start panicking. Yep. Cars and trucks are the same way. If they can't breathe, they get hot, they don't run right. So look at your engine like a human. The better it breathes, the better it'll perform. Anyway, 313 Diesel Guy out. 7-3 love, y'all. God bless.